They say when you truly believe in something, it happens. Well, it did happen. Manifestation is a powerful tool. My next guest is a former Toronto Raptor who's played a total of 17 seasons in the NBA. And in retirement, CJ Miles has unlocked a new favorite passion in photography. We dive into that, talk a little Raptors, as well as a Kobe Bryant story he's never shared and so much more. So without further ado, here's CJ. CJ, thank you so much for joining me here today on Passion Projects. Awesome to meet you. And I have to say, you were on the vision board. Every year I do a vision board, and I wanted to have a former Raptor on. So thank you so much for bringing that to fruition.
No, I mean, thank you for having me. I mean, it was pretty easy, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm not really too hard to find, honestly.
I know. I mean, like, thank you for saying yes. Like, this
Yeah.
means a lot. I want to kind of take you back to your early beginnings. Where for you did the passion for the game of basketball come from?
Everybody around me played since I
Yeah.
can remember when I was young. Like all of my family, both I tell the story all the time. My parents used to play pickup basketball together. Like I watched them play at the park together, my mom and dad, like on the same team. Aunts and uncles, all my cousins, like we would go to church and we would play in the back of the church. Like everybody played. Like we just and we played all sports, but like a lot of us played basketball, and that's where it really came from.
That's awesome. So, where at that moment, I guess, a kid growing up in Dallas, did you have that vision that, you know what, I can make it to the NBA?
Um, I don't know. Like it just always was it was the thing, right? Like it
Yeah.
was just I was gonna play basketball every day that I could, and it just stacked up the days, right? And me and my dad asked me maybe around middle school, like it's the only time I ever remember having a conversation about it. And he was like, you know what? I guess he started to see like the separation happen and me starting to get better, how I was spending all my time. And he asked me what I wanted to do with it. I said I wanted to go to the NBA. And he was like, okay. And like
Mhm.
it was like such a simple exchange, right? Like it wasn't really like this like whole big ordeal. He was like, okay. And it was just kind of like one of those things. Well, when I ask you to or tell you you need to do something, just remember what you told me. And when he had me balling up the newspaper on Sunday morning to strengthen my hands, like there's no questions about that, right? Like he wasn't like overbearing or anything. And granted, he didn't have to be because all I wanted to do was play basketball.
Right.
So, but like little things like that um kind of shifted after that conversation.
That's amazing. And like at what point, I guess, um, did it mean like I guess your workouts and everything that you did, the culmination of them, and then hearing your name, what did that moment feel like for you? 34th to the Utah Jazz?
It was I don't know if I have words for it yet still, which is crazy because it's been 20 years since it happened.
It's crazy.
But I just remember being happy I was going to continue to be able to continue to play basketball, right? Like that was what it was about. Like it wasn't about like the number I went. Obviously, you're aware of draft picks and you want to go high, you want to so, but like the biggest thing was I was going to get to go keep doing what I love to do every single day. And I was excited about that. And then obviously all my family was there and there was all these other things because I was at home for the draft and we celebrated and for them there's different reasons for like seeing their son or their nephew or their cousin or go to the NBA. For me it was like I get to go play basketball some more against
Yeah,
the best people in the world.
and you get to get paid to be doing it too, like, that is, like, a
But
moment
crazy that at that time that never crossed my mind.
right? Yeah,
Like when I was a kid, like I never thought, because as a kid I don't think about money. I don't have to.
yeah.
Like I'm living in my mom's house. Like my clothes are still being washed. Like food's on the table when they tell me to come eat. So like I don't like I'm obviously aware of where we stood financially. We weren't like the richest people in the world. We didn't have like this abundance of money just laying around. But I
Totally.
also know we didn't need anything. So that wasn't my approach to it. Like those conversations were almost like a left punch to the face after that because that's what everything's about right after because you have to get all that situated. And
Yes.
I had never thought about that stuff until then.
You know, it's interesting because I did read about this. You had mentioned that, like, for you, it wasn't about the fancy cars or anything like that either. It was just about kind of, to your point, getting situated, finding your role on a team, and just playing to the best of your ability for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was always about basketball. And don't get me wrong, as I got older, like you start to have some fun with things, you get exposed to things, start to do different things. Like obviously, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I didn't notice the money for a whole 16, 17-year career, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I went in and out of that phase too. Like I went into it and came out of it, right? Like I dibbled and dabbled, and I was like, okay, like, and anybody that knows me now will tell you the same thing. I'm like, whatever the thing is that I'm into, that I'm doing, that helps, me express myself creatively or helps me learn something, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm
Mhm.
not really sidetracked by anything else.
Was there that mama I made it moment for you that you kind of in the NBA were just like realizing, hey, like this is the pinnacle, like I'm here now.
Just breaking rotation and being like a starter in the NBA, like
Mhm.
playing every night that I was available to play, barring like injury or sickness or something like that. Like that I was a starter on a team, on a good team, and contributing to a team. And back when top 10 was like the biggest thing for highlights because you didn't go right to the internet right after. So like making top 10 plays when you got home from the game and like being those type of things, right? Like the things you grew up watching your favorite players be a part of and being able to kind of check those boxes and be in that space, being on a trading card, being on the video games, like those type of things. The kid in me was excited about those
Yeah.
just because those are a part of my basketball childhood too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that in a way too, like, for me, it was growing up, I loved the game of basketball, but if I couldn't do the actual sport, I wanted to do something pertaining to it, and so I was, working for the NBA, and I got to, work on the social media platforms, right? Like that was a new thing there. So like learning through that definitely helped get me to where I needed to go. You also mentioned that your first 5 years were kind of like a blur. And then was that just kind of navigating the game and understanding the nuances of it and then kind of settling into your roles?
It is just life, really,
Yeah.
right? Like I said, 17, 18 years old, everything just like changes drastically, right? Like especially for me cuz I was all set on going to school, going to Texas. I had signed, did my senior year, did
Mhm.
all these things, and then the end of my senior year, my dad and my high school coach sit me down and like, tell me what's going on, who's calling, what I can do, what my options are, all these things. And it's like, all right, let's try it. Let's see what happens because you could go work out without an agent and still go to school, right? Like you didn't have to. So I went and did the workouts, and that was like the beginning of like introduction to being on the road for real, like being running around, right? Like so you're doing all that to get ready for the draft, and you decide you're gonna stay. I decide I'm gonna stay. So then I gotta keep working out because now after I get drafted, I gotta go to summer league. So like everything just kind of like stacks up, stacks up, stacks up. The next thing you know, like prom happens. I get drafted. I'm at summer league, and the season starts. like that's how it just like, and then it just like stacks up. And then my only focus now is like, how do I make sure I stay? So like that's where the blur kind of comes in because you just kind of put your head down and just become a real creature of habit. Not that I wasn't already, but it's just
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm in the gym this time, this time, this time, this time, this time, this time. Go home, visit the family, go back in the gym this time, right? And that's what makes it the blur. It's just the stacking of the days and just trying to become what you envision.
Do you think that's what makes for you longevity and like having a lasting impact in the league as well? Because you played 17 seasons. How do you think that you were able to, I guess, figure it out? Whereas there are other players in the league who, don't even get to that point.
Um, Speaking for me personally, like I just show up.
Mhm.
Like that's the biggest thing, right? Like whether how I'm feeling emotionally, physically, if I was 9 for 9 the night before or I was 1 for 10, my routine rarely changed. Like, and you can ask people that play for me. I was there before practice started, getting those same shots up, doing those same things, trying to watch what I eat, doing those same things, like just over and over and over, no matter how I was feeling, whether if I was in a slump or I was on a hot streak, right? Like that's just kind of really trying to stack those days of trying to be as even headed as I can, because I know there's gonna be this. But if the more I can stay level, the longer this will last, and the more times I'll be able to climb out of something, or the more times I'll be able to rise to occasions, right? Like that was just really the biggest thing for me. Just
The
showing up,
repetition,
just
right?
the repetition. Like
Yeah.
that's all it is. That's all anything is, really. It's just reps. That's anything. That's how I treat everything. Like basketball taught me how to treat everything I treat my life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's crazy where this orange ball can take you, like the
Mhm.
different places and avenues in which you can go. Um, I wanna really kind of hone in on a special moment for me was obviously when you were part of the Raptors and the Bench Mob. Um, that season, you have mentioned that there was something special, right?
Mhm.
Brewing from the start of summer league. I mean, from the start of training camp.
Mhm.
Can you
Yeah,
take us to that? Yeah.
it was just understanding like all the basketball I had seen and been a part of and played, right? Like just seeing all of that start to kind of come together in a unit, like seeing the checking the boxes of the pieces you need to have a successful season and to be able to kind of go as far as you can go.
Mhm.
Like I had been to the Western Conference Finals really early in my career, and we lost to the Spurs. And then the teams that I really, really played more minutes on and really contributed on playoff runs every year, getting beat by the Lakers, right? Playing against Kobe. Um, and then going to Indiana and running into Cleveland, right? Like, so I had been a part of and seen like the best teams just up close and personal in that time, and getting to Toronto and seeing the depth that we had, seeing the young guys that were coming off the bench, already knowing what the starters were capable of because they had been a great team in the East for a number of years already. Like I had just played against them the year before in Indiana or in the playoffs. So maybe maybe that year or the year before that. And understanding what that team needed and the skill set that I had and what I could bring to it, and just watching the way guys worked in training camp, watching the way guys communicated, watching the way guys treated each other, the way the coaching staff was about the details and the things they were doing. And you could just feel it. Like there was a
Mhm.
confidence in the air already. There was an energy, there was an expectation of doing certain things, right? And we go on to be the best team in the league during the regular season that year because of that. And I thought that was just it was just a beautiful feeling to be able to have that much fun playing basketball and things be able to be the way they were.
Was there a special moment that kind of stood out for you in that season that you kind of encompass or keep with you?
I think it was for me personally, it was just the coming together of that second group, right? Like and us like when we really understood what we added to that team and
Yep.
how good we were. Like I remember starting that season, and before we even played a game, like part of my pregame routine is like I would dap the starters up at the scores table, and then I would come down and dap every coach, every guy on the bench, everybody behind the bench, like just like as we get ready for the game. And the first thing I would say to everybody on the bench is that we the best bench in the league, best bench in the league, best bench in the league, best team in the league. Like I would just say that every day, constantly, constantly, constantly. And then like the day we all looked at each other and realized that we were the best bench in the league by far. I think that was the special part, because then we walked into every game like that. We walked into our practice like that when we played against the starters and we scrimmaged, that we pushed them that same way.
Mhm.
And that was why our team was so good. And we really felt, a lot of times teams don't have the depth, or guys don't get to feel how much they weigh on a team because their roles are, you're 6, 7, 8 guy, and it's kind of looked at like you're not as much or you don't get this. But we understood as a unit, we were the best 6 man in the league.
W When you talk about that too, like, was it the chemistry as well? Like, did everyone kind of do things together? You all had dinners together, you all practiced together, like, is that what kind of distinguishes a team from being the best compared to maybe other teams in the league? Is that camaraderie that cohesiveness.
Yes, all the good, really really good teams I was on, it was like that. Just it's not a coincidence that you play better with guys that you tend to like and know, right? Like
Right.
it's not even a shot at anybody. It's just human nature, right?
Yeah.
Like you're willing to go the extra mile for people that you know and you know their intention, and it's easier to forgive and to teach and speak to guys. And it's not like you think about not helping a guy beforehand, but there's a sense of urgency that gets added to that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it took you, well, obviously you saw it from afar, but to the Raptors to ultimately winning the championship. Um, for you, at what point did you realize, okay, you know what? I'm ready to hang up my shoes, my jersey, and kind of go into another path?
I just remember, towards the end of my career, like my body was just kind of letting me know, like, and I didn't, excuse me. I always said I was never going to be a guy that kind of like limped out of here, right? Like I wasn't going to walk out and not be able to play with my kids in the driveway in the front yard, right?
Yeah.
And there were little things happening. And after I came back, the the last my last surgery I had was in DC after the trade to Memphis from
Mhm.
Toronto. I
Yep.
found that I had a stress fracture in my foot. They had to put a screw in my foot. They put a screw in my foot, and I come back from that when I'm in DC, and I play 10 games, and I fall and tear a ligament in my wrist after that, and I missed the rest of that season.
Oh.
um, because they had to leave like the pins in my wrist, so I couldn't work out while my wrist was recovering. So I was gonna miss the season because by the time I got back into shape after, it was gonna be over. So then the pandemic happens
Mm.
right when that happens. So it's really timing. Like I kind of got walked out, right? Like so when the pandemic happens, I'm also about to have my second child.
Oh
So
my
I don't wanna go into the bubble during that time
yeah.
because it just didn't make sense. After the bubble, I go because I didn't want to retire on an injury. I didn't want to retire that way. I remember sitting down praying, like, I want to walk. I don't want to walk out of here like that. So go play in the G League with the Ignite. They have a bunch of young guys like Dyson Daniels on that team. Um, who else is on that team?
Was Amir on that team?
Amir's on that team. Yes, me and
Mhm.
Amir together. And I'm trying to think of the other young guys that was on that team. I'm slipping my mind right now, but there's a lot of good, some good prospects on that team also,
Yeah.
and some vets that are like kind of helping. It's a good way to do that. But go play one game. Funny story, actually. Like on the way back from that game, the bus breaks down. All type of stuff happens, right? And I don't play good because I haven't played a game in almost 2 years. And Brad Stevens calls like right after that, and I get called up to Boston for a 10-day because they got guys catching COVID.
Yeah.
So I go and I'm like, I get in that one game, I play, and then the next day after that, I found that I have COVID, and
Oh,
I end up locked in a in a hotel room in Boston through like Christmas and New Year's, pretty much.
for
And
2 weeks, yeah.
yeah, and then I go home and I'm just kind of like, all right, I think it's time to figure this thing out. Because the other thing that a lot of people don't know what happened was that year Brooklyn, the year that everybody gets hurt in Brooklyn and KD, the year KD steps on the line when he shoots the three.
Yep,
Like
yep.
I go do a workout for Brooklyn during that year too, because their playoff roster, because everybody's hurt and they're trying to fill the roster for the playoffs. Find that I have COVID the day of that workout too. So like, so like that workout never happens. So there was a lot of stuff that happened during that time. Like thankfully, like I didn't have any like serious ailments or anything. I know a lot of
Yeah,
people were affected. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it was
for
just
sure.
what was happening. And the least of my work, like just not being able to play basketball at this point, is there are way worse things happening, right? But yeah, I think it was just kind of showing me it was time, and I knew it was getting close anyway.
It's kind of crazy the circumstances that lead up to the point where, you know, it's time. Did that once you kind of came to terms with it, was it difficult to kind of, because I guess understand your identity and who you were. I just say this because Chris Bosh recently came out and
Mhm.
was discussing, you know, he lost who he was. Basketball was all he knew. And so he had these passions, but they, for him, his identity was basketball.
Mhm.
Did you find that once you kind of left the game?
Yeah, because you just everything is so attached to it, right?
Mhm.
And everything kind of runs through it. Even the things that aren't basketball, you got them through it, right? So like it always comes back to it. And I think the biggest thing for me was figuring out a way to grieve it the right way. And I don't mean grieve it like I didn't like my career or anything, but like let it, it's okay to be sad about finishing. I think a lot of guys think they're supposed to, when they're done, they're supposed to be done and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be, you know, this celebration and it's over. But like, no, you lose a lot of yourself. Like your daily routine. That's the hardest part. Like my day is set before I wake up.
Right.
And then it's not anymore. Like then it's not, right? And I think figuring that out, and then you kind of, well, I did. You go to this stage of like now you're trying to figure out how do I separate from basketball because
Mhm.
if I'm not going to be able to play, I don't want everything, every conversation to be wrapped around it. And there's like, but I don't mind it much anymore. Like, and I still love basketball and I'm still attached to it. Like, I still do things around the game. I think it's just figuring out that balance of, you know, growth as a person and outside the game. And then also, if you love it that much, still finding ways to allow it to be in your life.
And as you allow it to be in your life, I know you've picked up photography as well. That passion that you speak, you've talked about where your passion for photography came from, but do you think go beyond, bringing a camera with you in the beginnings when you were uh, part of the Utah Jazz?
Yeah. So the first time I picked up a camera, it was just kind of like me trying stuff, like being a kid, right? Like you just trying, and I was a creative person, like always was. I was writing and doing music back then too. I was doing all those things. So like I was
Mhm.
just trying everything and shot for a little bit, played around with it, kind of like faded away from it. Obviously, like you never know what's gonna hit when you're that young, right? You're just doing stuff. And I was still very much engulfed in basketball at that time too. Like my whole day is basketball too. So it wasn't like I was taking time for other things outside the game that much. So moving forward, as I continue like writing and expressing myself, doing things, I get to a point where there's two things that call me for photography. One, I want to control the imagery of the art that I make.
Mhm.
Like I wanted to like what the words I said, words I wrote, words I sang, whatever it may be. I wanted to figure out a way to be able to make sure that the communication was all in line, that it all lined up. I wanted my voice to be every part of this. The second part was for my kids, like having my kids, like having documentation of just the life that
Mhm.
we've lived and done things. Cause like I um think about lineage and you think about just being able to revisit and tell these stories. And a lot of stories I felt like weren't getting told just because we didn't have anything that would trigger the memory, especially with like older people in my family. Like, so I wanted to make sure that I filled a lot of holes because there's a lot of gaps in certain spaces from, my grandparents, great grandparents, things of that nature. So I just wanted to stop that right now.
Totally. No, that's amazing. And I guess from picking up the camera and what you've been able to do with it, um, what has been the passion? How do you find that you go about capturing, in this case, basketball?
So like I always liken basketball, me and basketball to a relationship. Like that's what it's been.
Mhm.
And I think about it like a relationship, if that's the case, right? You spend that much time of your life with something, doing something, around something. Um, you know, as you grow older, relationships change. You change. The other person in the relationship changes, and you figure out how to serve each other in different ways, and you see each other in different ways. And as you grow, you learn more things about each other. You look at each other different, and that's the way I look at it now. Like I look at basketball, like it's just me getting to know it in a different way, right? And it's just all the knowledge and experience I've had from knowing it from the time I was 3 years old up until I retired. Just helps me understand it more on this side, right? Like I look at the game in like I love it, right? Like, and that's not a shot at anybody that's shooting basketball. Like I just know basketball differently than they do.
Yep.
And there's beautiful basketball photographers that know the game differently than I do. Like, I just think that the relationship that I have with it and the reason why people gravitate to some of the stuff that I do is just my perspective on it. Just same as the way I like a lot of photographer stuff too. Is their perspective is different than mine. So I don't think it's really um any magic sauce or anything besides the fact of like obviously I played and I know what certain moments mean to guys because that's what I
Mhm.
think about. I think about the player's mindset, like, and if I was going to give them pictures of them from the game, and then I think about the pictures that their mom would like. So like I always try to like
I
I
like
think of those
that.
two things, like right, like try to find something that like because we often forget the human side of a lot of guys. Like that's
Mhm.
somebody's baby, that's somebody's
Mhm.
son, somebody's cousin, somebody's friend, somebody's husband. So like I always try to find spaces for that too. And there are also brothers out on that floor. And I think we tend to look at them as these gladiators, these massive
Mhm.
athletes, giants, and they
Mhm.
are those things.
Yeah.
But to be that, there's a lot of human in you too.
When you talk about that mindset, do you kind of go into a game understanding, okay, here's how I want the flow of what I'm shooting to be, or you kind of just feel it?
So it's funny. Like I was telling my wife this other day, I never thought that photography would like I would fall into it the way I fell into the game.
Right.
So it turns into a feeling. So I kind of just read the game. There's little things that I think about going to a certain place, right? Like when I went to Oklahoma City last year for game 7
Mhm.
of the finals
Yeah.
with Indiana. Like I'm already thinking about maybe the temperature of the photos, like coloring a little bit because I'm thinking about what does a game 7 feel like?
Mhm.
Right? Like I'm thinking about how I can inflict that feeling through the colors too. But as far as like the photos, it's just like the game tells me that. Like I just kind of feel it out. I just listen to it the same way I did when I was playing. Like it showed me, you know, how the defense was playing, how physical it was going to be, how the referee's calling, how my shot feels today. All right, so maybe I'm going to have to get to the rim a little more, like that, those type of things. So like as
Yeah.
I'm watching the game, I'm watching Brandon Ingram start to heat up at a certain spot. So like that is so like now I'm kind of like looking for certain sets they might run to try to get him
Mhm.
there. And I'm saying, and I can kind of like predict what's going on beforehand because I recognize certain sets, right? Or I recognize the type of things that get under certain guys' skin. So, like, if a little altercation is going to happen, I probably saw it 2 plays ago, and I'm just kind of waiting on it, right? I think it's just about the little things. My favorite thing is those small moments in between plays and timeouts and dead balls when you see like a guy fixing his wristband, or taking a deep breath because I know how much those moments mean.
Yeah.
I've seen those little moments take a guy from being starting 1 for 7 to finishing with a 35-point game because those
Y
deep breaths are just a cleansing.
Right. That's one thing I really love to understand and analyze when I'm watching a game too, just those little moments that people might not see, but like if it's a guy putting his arm around another guy just to be like, okay, here's how you could have done this better, or this run this play differently, or the coach and the player. Um, I find those moments to be very beneficial and very like interesting as well, from my social media perspective too, when you capture the behind the scenes as well. I would love to know, is there a favorite arena that you've liked to shoot at thus far in your time as a photographer?
Um, I mean, I love being in Toronto, so like that was my favorite. That's been my favorite one I've shot in. I like shooting in Utah too, but I've always liked Toronto's vibe in the arena. Even before I played there, that was one of my favorite places to play in.
Yeah. Is it
So
because of the space? Like, do you get space and you get to like walk around and capture the
there
moment?
is good space there, yeah. And then obviously I got to sit on the floor some at that game too, but there is good space, and the spaces they have for photographers, their auxiliary spots are pretty good. Some spaces they have them, some arenas have them higher than others, like right, like there's but they have good spaces for their guys. And I was working with the content team, so I had a lot of help. Shout out to those
Yeah.
guys, they were really good, but that was cool. But like the perk I've been getting is just being in arenas that I played in for teams that I played in, there's been
Yeah,
a lot of love being shown. And I'll go in and I'll do some radio, I'll do some broadcasting, pre-post and half, and then I'll shoot some too. So I get to kind of go in and just like literally play for a couple hours, and whatever I come out with, I come out with.
that's awesome. Do you like landscapes as well? I know Cabby was referencing there's some spots that you come in the summer to capture the
Yeah.
island.
I love
Um,
I love street stuff. So like I love the world. Like that's what I shot first. I didn't shoot basketball till later. Like basketball came well after I picked up a camera. Which is kind of funny because I didn't go near a basketball game when I first picked up the camera. Um,
it was like the landscapes that you really fell in love with and the nature, right? I think
yeah.
as well.
That was what made me go really invest in the camera. Was after like a really good camera. Was we took a road trip as a family and we drove from like here in Texas all through national parks all the way up to Montana and
Nice.
back down through like Utah and through like some West Coast spots, right? And I remember being in Wyoming, being in Montana, being in Big Sky, being in Teton Village, right? Like being in the national parks and be like, man, I'll never do something like this without a camera ever again. And I came home
Yeah.
and literally figured out which like really good camera I wanted to get. And from there it's been history.
That's amazing. And you print out these photos as well, and like I guess you have specific ones you like to print or do you and post
I
them like
haven't. I post them. I haven't printed much. Like
no
that's the
printed
next thing. I
anything?
printed a couple for myself and like in the house for like my family or whatever. But like nothing. I haven't sold anything or anything yet. Everybody's asking me to make prints now.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe
Yeah.
you need to do like a Art Basel gallery, CJ
So funny
Miles.
enough, I did a gallery for the finals games last year in summer league during summer league, and I'll do another one this year. I don't know. I'm still feeling out exactly what it's going to be towards, like what because last year was the finals. Obviously, I don't know
Yeah.
what it's going to be this year. It'll tell me before it's time, but
CJ, think
yeah,
about coming
I've done that.
for Art Basel here in Miami. That would be fun.
So conversations like now as I'm moving forward, conversations like that are happening. So hopefully that's in the future too, because I would definitely love to do that. Like there's a lot that can be done because it just opens your mind to new experience and new ways to be creative when you get put in spaces like that. So I no different than a game, like being challenged. Like I think about those things like that.
Yeah, of course.
There's one where we're in Utah playing against LA. I have a good night. Like I always got messed up with him. I had a good night this night. And second half, like I had to move, like going right, step back right to a jumper or whatever. And he's guarding me and I do it. And like me and two of my best friends are coming out of the locker room, walking down the hallway, and he comes out. He's always last. I'm always last coming out too. So we run into each other in the hallway. And as they're walking, he's like, he stops me and the way he says it is like, you're never gonna get the move off again. But he's like, I forgot your ass like to go step back when you go right. He was like, good move. And he like dapped me up, right? Like, and then like as he walks away, they get on a bus. My boys behind me, and we like little girls. We like, what in the world just happened? Like that's Kobe that just came up and like said that to us, right? And then I don't remember if it's the same year or the next year we're in LA and we play them. And I'm having a good defensive night. Like I keep getting like deflections, little things, like messing with his rhythm a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he's struggling in the game, but I'm making it a little tougher on him this night, right? And he's got 2 fouls going into the half, so he gets taken out right before the halftime buzzer, and I'm standing out at half court by him. And he looks at me, he goes, I got something for you in the second half, basically, right? Like I'm not gonna say the words he said, but he's like, I got something for you. And I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I'm like, he's gonna shoot the ball 50 times in the next 2 quarters and try to and I just remember like we ended up winning the game, and like he just has an off night that night. Cause I always felt like him having an off night, it wasn't a lot of what you did. It was kind of like it was one of those nights, right? And I remember us being in the locker room and everybody being like, yeah, good game. Like, good job on it. And I was like, be quiet. Like, don't talk about this. Don't say nothing. I don't want nobody to walk out of here saying that we was in here celebrating or I said I was the Kobe stopper or nothing like that. But like it was just always fun to like the intensity that he brought to the game was always fun to match up with. And then the last thing is, I was in Indiana when he did his farewell tour, and I actually got pictures of the moment, like of me being able to tell him what he meant to me basketball wise, right? Like me and being able to tell him, like, there's no guys like me that come out of high school like in my age range without him, right? Like there's like his influence is bar none, right? Like
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
being able to share all those things to like my whole career and then the end of his, being able to have that moment with him was was really cool.
Absolutely everything. How about Michael? Anything stand out with Michael?
I haven't been around. I was only around him really heavily once.
Yeah.
At the Michael Jordan camp when I was in high school. So like, they would bring in like college guys and like top high school recruits to like work the camp. We would play pickup in the nighttime. We'd be the council. We'd play, and we would all play. He was still playing this time. This is like 2003, 4. So like he had just really retired. So he's still playing some. And I just remember he just talked so much trash. Like it's real. Like obviously I believed everybody, but seeing it in person. And then I remember him being in the gym and just going down the line and just like telling everybody why they couldn't guard him or why they were weak or whatever. And he got to like me. He was like, "You're just not strong enough." And I was a high school kid. He's like, "Y'all just too young." Like he didn't even like take the time to like give me a real assessment. But like being there, like another one of those things, just being around him for a few days. Mostly in the pickup in the gym or just seeing how those guys competed and just being around it. That was always cool. And for him, that stands out because I wasn't really exposed to a lot of it growing up. I like you hear guys' stories about them being at all these camps and like especially the younger guys now because there's so many more camps. There's Chris Paul's camps, LeBron camp. There's all like there wasn't that many things like that when I was coming up. So that's another reason why our players are so much more talented and better now because there's so much more access and they're being taught and they should be. But that's monumental at that time because there were 2 other high school kids there. Yeah. Everybody else, the college classes, JJ Redick, David Lee, Darren Williams, D Brown, like Illinois, Duke, Florida, all those big name guys at that time. Like Quentin Richardson was in the NBA, but he came. Darius Miles came by. Like I'm like just there, kind of like. But it was fun.
How do you think that the game though has changed from when you started out to like where it is now?
There's just so much. There's so much skill. There's so much ability, right? Like
yes,
and so much freedom. The game had to allow that freedom because the players demanded it. Like the centers became more athletic, more mobile, more better ball handlers. The point guards who used to be only known for facilitating became like kind of more ball dominant scoring guards because we were scoring. The game's pace got so much faster. Like everybody got to the point where they were able to extend their minutes on the floor basically by being more skilled. Being able to shoot it some, being able to pass it some. The thing that we do lack though is that we don't really have. We're losing on some of the guys who kind of like master certain things, right? Like,
yes,
which is not a shot at it. It's just how things go. Like you shoot, you get better, and some things get overlooked, and then you come back and you trying to put them together, and then somebody's a better version. And but I think that's the biggest thing is that we could have the next decade could be the greatest basketball we ever seen. Now it's just about remembering like the game, teaching the game. Like just because you can do everything, does that mean you should? Right. Like,
yes.
And that's the goal. That's where you have to find, because you don't want to take away the freedom and creativity, but you also want to remember what the goal is to win this game and what's the best way to put guys together and to use strengths and to remember that it's a team thing. So
I think to your point, I feel like a lot of times when I'm watching, some of that is missing. You know what I mean? Like, yes, people feel like they have to take the onus on themselves to really get out there and be that guy, but also like it is a team game. And so
and a lot of guys aren't really the guy, they just trying to be that. So that's one thing that comes with teaching everybody that they can be anything or they can do everything, is that everybody thinks they're supposed to be the guy.
Yes.
So when they can't be the guy, they kind of become ineffective.
Right.
Because they've only practiced themselves being the guy. And then when they actually meet the guy, that's the guy. like then they feel out of place. Right. So it's kind of like understanding. And that's kind of what happens when you go to positionless basketball. We call it positionless basketball. But like now there's no like guy that has that has to take accountability. Like the point guard took accountability for getting guys involved,
Mm-hmm.
or controlling the pace. There was a checklist of things you knew he had to do that night, every
Right.
night. But if there is positionless basketball, now the checklists are kind of like blurred, right? Like, and there's no accountability for certain things, and you're waiting to see who's going to be able to do it for you at this certain time, and that kind of hurts you sometimes. And there are nights where the power forward might be the best playmaker on the floor, and the game presents that to him. But that's the point guard's decision to figure out.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we need to run it through him because this is happening, right? Now it's kind of like you're just kind of waiting on certain things, and and it's hard that way.
No, that floor general is like the extension of the coach, right? And like
Exactly.
they're the ones that that are creating.
But like when your playmaker is the playmaker simply because he wants to be the guy and not because that's his responsibility, that's two different things.
Yeah.
I hope I'm saying that clearly. And like, or when the guy wants to get wants to rebound because like he wants to make sure his numbers are a certain thing, not because his job is to control the glass. Like that's not what he came into the game thinking. Like he's like, I need to rebound because I need everybody to think I can do everything.
Yeah.
Not I need to rebound because my team needs me to rebound tonight. Like that's two different things.
Right. Yes. It's that mental approach to the game that kind of goes.
Which is why we hear we see these articles about guys saying my team is trying to make me be something that I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. The game is doing that. Like if you're on a team where we have guys that do this, and this, like we're a unit, right? And because you want to be able to do everything, you would rather be outside the unit than win games, right? Like, and I think that's why we have younger guys now kind of having that problem, because they've been trained to be the guy their whole life. And they get to the NBA, and the NBA is full of guys that have always been the guy their whole life too.
Yes.
And guys that play a long time that aren't LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, they're guys that figure that out. Yeah. And they figure out, what my team needs me to be. Because I didn't come into the NBA as a three-point shooter. But I looked around and I was like, all right, Kyrie needs space. Paul George needs space. Darren Williams needed space. All these guys, I'm not going back to being a primary ball handler, but all those guys need space. So what do? I create space for them. So if they play, I play.
Yeah. And what I love, because I was reading about this too, but you inserted yourself into the spaces and you made spaces that fit you well too. And I think that's what guys are missing in understanding, I can create a role for myself here, and here's how I can best help my team win.
The other thing that's funny about it is that, I also wasn't afraid to look at what our team needed. And if I was asked to try to do something I didn't know how to do yet, to try to figure out how to do it so I could play it, so I could help my team. It's funny that we raise up a bunch of guys that say they can do everything, and then you ask them to do one thing and they're like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
That's funny, right? Like when you think about that, it's like, well, they're only letting me do, well, you said you could do everything. So
show me.
You could do everything except what our team needs, right? Like that's what's funny about that conversation is like these guys are saying, well, I'm this, and this, and I can do what he's doing. I can do this. So I'm asking you to do this one thing, which would lead to more opportunities for you to do the other things, but you're showcasing that you can't do one thing, which is weird to me. I've never said it out loud that way, but like, thank you for that.
No, but it's and it's like, okay, you're gonna go because all the guys are just like, I'm gonna go in the off season, I'm gonna work on this aspect of my game and bring it back. But is that what is needed for your team?
The other thing that makes that hard now too, though, is the speed of when you don't focus on something like that, or you don't have an assessment of what your team needs and how you can help your team. The skill set that you go work on in the summer might not be the one you should have worked on that summer. So guys come back and they think they need to be better at doing everything when they should have just been a better shooter or in better shape or a better defender or a better, right? Like they don't take one thing, they go and they try to just get better at being at a little bit of everything. Right. And if you look at your team and be like, we really struggle shooting the ball this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to become a 40% 3-point shooter.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to play now. And then because now my minutes go from 8 to 17, now I'm going to get more reps at handling the ball, which is what I wanted. So then next summer when I go into off season, it makes sense to me to go work on becoming a better pick and roll player. because
Because yeah, because I was gonna say, don't these assistant coaches go and kind of check up on what you're doing,
uh-huh,
your conditioning,
uh-huh.
and so don't they help like facilitate? Here's how
Mhm.
you could do this
But
better.
it's the same thing though, but like how do I develop someone who
Yeah,
thinks they're developed already?
yeah, that's
Right?
true.
Like if I think if he thinks he's developed and he thinks he just thinks he needs just need to be in the gym, it
Mhm.
kind of takes some of the intention out because like you do a little bit of everything. So we go in there and yeah, we do a little bit of everything and you sweat. But like, did we get better?
But is that what comes into play about the teachability of these guys now?
Mhm.
Like, are some more teachable than others? Kind of
100%.
it depends on their
It's
personality?
it's been that way from the beginning of time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like it's always been that way. Like there's some guys just, they learn differently.
Yes, yes.
And it could be just the coach they're with. It could be the language. It could be like it's little things.
Yep.
But for sure, like it's just about how a lot of times it's if that guy is willing to do the one thing to get
Mhm.
himself in the door to become the other things. Because if you don't go to a bad team and you're a lottery pick and you're not given the keys right away, they're not gonna you're not expected to go try to they're not raising you to be the guy.
Yeah.
Some guys inherit being the guy, like they play their role and then they get a chance to be because somebody leaves or gets hurt and they showcase it. But a lot of times, guys just have to figure out where they fit in first
Mhm.
and or how they can fit in first. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just is what it is.
Yeah. Where do you think that the Raptors, as they conclude the season, look into the playoffs, how do you feel that they'll
I think
be?
it's a I think it's a good year forward for them. Like I think it's needed. They need to go see what it feels like. So I remember when I got to Cleveland from Utah, and I had played in the playoffs pretty much every year except like the last one before I came. This is like my 7th year, and I remember us sitting down. We were talking about Kyrie,
Mhm.
and they were just talking about what I thought about him, this and the third. I had been around some other players, some other guards, and played against. So what I thought about him, I was like, once he gets a taste of the playoffs, he's going to be an even different animal because now you really know what you have to do to go further, right? Like, because
Yeah.
like he's kind of figured out the regular season. He had been rookie of the year, playing 20s, averaging 20 some points again. You know what I mean? You kind of figure that out. And now, like, you get that different taste of that different level of basketball and like that intention. We keep using that word of like how every position matters so much and the little
Mhm.
things. And you start to figure out how much better shape you got to be in, just different things, right? But once you taste that and you know that you're close, that much closer to a championship, it changes you. And I think that's what this Toronto Raptors team is going to get. A lot of young guys are going to get some experience needed. BI is going to get that experience as the
Mhm.
number one in the playoff series. RJ Barrett is going to get it as the number two, right? Like, just as a unit, right? They're going to get that feeling of really being tested and understanding, and the feeling of how that city gets behind you when you're in that position.
Mhm.
That also plays a role. But I think it's the same. Every team goes through it. Like they kind of rebuild, start to get better, get a playoff berth. Next year they get a playoff run. Then they
Yes.
kind of get deeper and they start. Then you can see what pieces you need too. Like, well, we need one more veteran that can do this, or we need another guard to come off the bench that does this. Like now you can really assess the team in a winning manner.
And this is the first time that they're gonna be in the playoffs since 2022. So
Mhm.
and Scotty Barnes was there in their like that playoff run, but this will be, I guess, a litmus test of the experience to work off of. The
Mhm.
Obviously it was a short experience in the playoffs the last time, but here we go
But
again.
again, it goes back to what we talked about. This also now, like I always felt like the game should tell you what to practice. So now this is going to change your off
Mhm.
seasons. Now it's like, okay,
Mm.
I couldn't get to my left hand in the playoffs. I really need to be better at that coming. So like now I go to the summer with that and I work through the season on that to get ready for the playoffs for it, right? Like because the
Yes.
season's going to give me live reps at it, right? And then the playoffs is going to give me like the real test.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. What is some advice that you would give someone who's is passionate about photography and wanting to kind of get into that craft?
I mean, honestly, the same advice I would give to anybody that's interested in anything and wants to get into a craft, like to get your hands dirty,
Mhm.
to go do it. Like I'm not, I'm pretty much self-taught. Like it's just kind of like get in the field and be willing to miss some shots. Like honestly, like I tell people all the time, I just shot until they weren't blur anymore. And then
Yeah.
obviously like went and studied some things. Like if there's something I couldn't figure out, naturally in the field, or just like there are days my wife will vouch for me. Like I stood out in the yard and in front of a tree and just shot that single tree over and over and over until I figured out how I wanted it to look and how I could do it and how fast I could do it. And then I started walking around and just chasing certain birds, because if I can shoot a bird, I can definitely shoot some basketball games or people on the street. Same thing with my kids. I just started, I use my actual life and my everyday life to practice. So that's why I carry my camera everywhere. So when I go to the games, that's easy. It's
Right?
just being prepared.
Okay, also I have to give a big shout out to your Substack too, because you're so great at writing as well. And so I know
Thank
that
you.
you're working on potential new rap or
Mhm.
lyrics, is
Yeah,
everything
everything. Like
everything's
that's
in the
my
works.
practice. Yeah, everything. So like working on a book. And that's what
Nice.
Substack was really for. So for me to have a place to get reps at that style of writing, like article style writing. Because the plan is to be like my own basically sports editorial walking page, right? Like to be
Yeah.
able to take the photos, write a story on the game, discuss the game, to be able to just put all my perspective in one space. And then the book idea just kind of came from just sharing things that I picked up over time. Like, because I coached some last year. So like picking up like John Wooden's book and Coach K's book and reading some of their stuff and seeing the type of that style of writing from like basketball coaches. I thought there were some things that from my playing experience that I could share, and just like my outlook on the game, just to kind of continue the conversation, not to like dictate it, but I always think of things that I create and put out as like call and response. So like I'll create something and put it out. I want the critique, I want the questions, I want the conversation, because now that conversation will help me, continue my path to create something different or to
Yeah.
change the way I look at things. Because I'm not trying to figure out if I'm right. I'm trying to figure out if I'm wrong.
Right.
And right, like so that's the way I really look at things when I create. So like I'm just at a space where I have the time and the tools to be able to just, dump basically, right? Like put everything out and be in this conversation with the world in so many different ways. And that's what's been so fun.
It's been so fun to just like read and understand and like have that amount of relatability too, because I feel like people from all walks of life can come in, like there's certain instances like that are relatable too for
Mhm.
everyone. So I think that's
I
fantastic.
also I also think that there's a lot of things that are relatable that people don't realize are
Yeah.
because of this, because they the spaces that a lot of us are in, right? They see NBA guys on TV, or they think about the amount of money that guys have made or whatever it may be, and they start to kind of like separate things from real life. And real life happens no matter what zip code or tax brackets you're in.
Mhm.
Like relationships, deaths in the family, births, sickness. People, you go through things like those things don't go away. Um, and we all live in the same world.
And I think that I feel as though people put athletes on this like different pedestal too, but for like they're all human as well,
Mhm.
right? And I think that that's like it's hard to grasp your head around that, because obviously you have them as your idol, or like you have these instances where you of course idolize them or put them on that pedestal, but
I really wish, and I'm not to say that athletes don't inspire people, but it should be more of an inspiration look at
Mhm.
things than an idolization of things, right? Because like we talked about with reps, like that's the only difference between me and the other guy that wanted to play.
Yeah.
I chose to go play over whatever else the other thing was. It was just the reps and the time and the intention put into it, right? Yes, like there are some things that work in my favor, like my height to certain people or certain things, but we've seen plenty of stories with guys that aren't run by athleticism that get to the NBA because of the time and intention put into things,
Mhm.
right? And that's in any other field also, right? Like there's no reason for anybody to think that I would be a good photographer or a writer, but like it's just reps and intention. Like I sit in here every day. Right now, there's a camera on my desk and there's a notebook on my desk right now. Like before we got on here, I'd walk the neighborhood and I took a walk with my camera and I had my headphones on, listening to an audiobook or whatever, music or whatever, and I'm taking pictures. That's how I spend my morning.
Yeah, exactly. Intention. And that's how we should all, be
And I
thoughtful.
and granted, I'm not also gonna make light of that people like I'm in a blessed
Of course.
position now where I'm not in I don't have to work a 9 to 5 right now. I don't have to do certain things. I know there are certain things that take time away from being able to be creative and do what you want, but that's part of the journey also. It wasn't always like this for me either. Like I didn't always have access to every gym I wanted to be. Like I wasn't always able to go, do what I wanted to do that morning. So like I think that's the biggest thing, that the inspiration comes into play, is that if you dedicate to something long enough, it will open up enough doors for you to then spread and be able to touch these other things. That's why I talk about basketball in the beginning, trying to separate from it. And I was like, no, it gifted me the space to be able to be a writer, a photographer, a musician. It gave me all that space. So I'm going to continue to pay homage to it. I'm going to continue to photograph it. I'm going to continue to talk about it because there's a love for it. And I owe that much to it. I should talk about it a certain way.
Exactly. I love it. I want to take this moment to do a little rapid fire with you, if you don't mind. Just
Okay.
feel free to kind of say what comes to your head.
Mhm.
Ready. Your favorite arena you've ever played in?
Oh,
Ever
I'm
played
I'm I'm gonna say Dallas because it's home.
in? Mhm.
Because families there, high school coaches, old teammates, teach anybody. I'm gonna say Dallas because it's home. But I love playing in the Garden. I love playing. You know what I mean? I spoke about being in Toronto. I love a lot
Yeah.
of arenas, but I'm gonna say Dallas because it's home.
What about the most randomest city that you love to play in?
I love Seattle, even though it's
Oh,
not
nice.
here anymore. Seattle was my favorite city in my first like 3-4 years. I think that it was still my first 3 years. It was still in the NBA.
Yeah.
That was my favorite city.
One teammate who doesn't get enough credit.
Hmm. One teammate who doesn't get enough credit over my whole career.
Yeah. If there was one or two.
Paul Millsap.
Good one. The music that you listen to before games, or do you listen to?
So one, depending on if we're on the road, I
Yeah.
would always dig through like artists from that city.
Oh,
So
nice.
if we went to Chicago, it would be Common, Kanye, Lupe. Like I would dig into my bag of like I would like kind of make these little playlists of those things, like kind of like an energy thing, like a frequency thing for me. Like, and it was always something fun for me to do, like just off the floor on
Yeah.
the bus, whatever it may be. New York, the same. If there were cities I didn't really find artists, maybe I'd look at SoundCloud for a hot second, or I'll just go digging for something new or something that I was feeling at the time. Like that, but that was one of my favorite things to do.
One thing people might not know about the rigors of the NBA life.
Hmm. That's tough because like I feel like everything's on camera now.
I know, that's true.
Like everything's filmed, everything is. Um, but I think understanding that now, okay, this is kind of off subject, but it is not. So because I don't have a real answer, but I'm gonna say this: understanding that now the way we teach basketball as strictly business, that it's hard for guys now to keep their love of the game
Mm,
with it being that way. Because it does become a job when you get to the NBA. You do have to get up every single day, and there are days days you probably need to take off that you can't take off and you shouldn't take off, and things of that nature. And when it's always been geared to you like a business growing up, we don't get the best version of guys, of players,
yeah.
because they just kind of come in to check the boxes and not be creative, right? Like, and we're
Yes.
naming things creative because we have the most athletic guys we've ever seen. They can do things, some of the things we've never seen before, but it's really so much of them just being athletic and not really pressing the limits of the game.
What about one word to best describe your career?
Hmm. Um, Resilient.
Love it. Awesome. Well, CJ, thank you so much for taking the time to join me here on Passion Projects.
Thank you for having me.
I truly hope this conversation has inspired you to continue to follow your passion. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Kyle, and I'll see you again. Take care.